Hello, welcome to our podcast. I'm Yolanta. I'm Research and Library Services Manager here at UCS College Group. And with me here is Louise.
Hi everyone, my name's Louise. I'm from the Early Childhood Education and Care degree here at UCS. And we've just started our new academic year, which is super exciting.
Yes, I think it's really exciting when new students are returning, starting course.
Totally.
And actually this week has been such a vibrant and buzzing environment at the college with the HE Freshers Fair.
Yeah, definitely.
There's
The
so many
Freshers Fair,
stalls.
Like, so exciting, wasn't it? They were giving away chips and pasties.
Mountains of food
Yeah.
and lots of activities. We actually did a stall for the library as well.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Quite a few students came along and we did a bit of a challenge. They had to guess titles that films and TV series, and they had to do that through guessing emojis.
Ah, nice.
And then they entered into prize draw to win new study skills books.
It's really exciting as well, isn't it? There was a buzz about the place this week.
Yeah.
And as lecturers, I don't know how you feel, but I feel quite emotionally overwhelmed this week. Do you know what I mean? Lots going on, lots of new students, but exciting as well because
very much
we
so.
see them grow so much, don't we, in the time that they're here. And I'm sure we'll talk today about some of the skills they gain and all of that. But actually, it is about the skills they gain, but actually it is about the friendships they build.
Yes.
And also with UCS Elevate, we encourage them to build those curriculum beyond the curriculum, how they present and how they interview and how they hold themselves and the confidence and the employee that they're going to be for tomorrow.
So Louise, what would you think are the most common queries that students come for support to you with?
Yeah, I mean, several really, but if we're picking up on themes, I would say, academic stuff is always, isn't it? So Harvard referencing is a big one, always. How to structure assignments, the different types of assignments and essays and things they will have to do. So we don't do exams on my course, but some courses have exams in them. But we get them to write journals, do presentations, essays. Although we do a huge amount of assignments that are beyond just a typical academic essay.
And that resonates with what we do in the library because you, Louise, send student groups to us and you encourage one-to-ones.
Yeah.
And students actually, as you're saying, often come to us about Harvard referencing.
Yeah.
So they often ask, how do I cite in text? What is the format under Harvard referencing? Or they say, how do I create Harvard referencing list?
Yeah.
Or especially when they start the year learning about all these library platforms and systems to know where to go, how to open that journal article, where they all sit, how to find quality information, because we now live in information overload and with AI as well. So for students to know where to go for quality, reputable information, libraries are really key area to go to and actually explore what we have available. Because we have like thousands of journal articles, we have hundreds of journal titles, thousands of ebooks, printed books. So it's just everything is at their fingertips. It's knowing how to access all that.
Definitely, and why you would use a library instead of a typical Google search. So a lot of the times we talk about, one of the first things we talk about in terms of searching in Wikipedia rather than go to a book or a journal, because why would I, if I'm, an intelligent human, I'm going to use the fastest source. So if I can Google something, why would I spend time logging onto the library or searching the library shelves? Why would I do that? Because I'm intelligent, so the fastest way is just to Google it. So we had a conversation yesterday about, why we don't use general information websites, but we can use them for the basics. And then when we need to look a bit deeper into that or get accurate information, actually we're going to the places that you see. So, that is definitely one of the things, the biggest things is the researching. Where do I go? How do I go? How do I then reference it? There's several ways. The students get it, don't they?
Yes.
In the beginning, they're like, "Where does the full stop go?" And at the end, they're absolutely whizzes at it, and they're correcting my Harvard referencing, which is quite interesting. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff about how to structure work.
Oh yes, academic writing.
Yes, definitely, and quite often the misconceptions around writing when we come, even basic things like how to write an email. So if you've only ever, sent digital messages, you may format all of your digital messages, including emails, on one line. We have to say to students, when you're emailing settings or schools or me, say, "Hi, Louise, new line, you know, and then your subject, you know, and all of that much more like a letter. So we do that, but also other things as well. So like, what's a learning outcome? You know, why is it so important? What does it mean? What's a command word? What does the
Yes.
command word do to the rest of the learning outcome?
Yeah,
And why
we
do I
have
have to?
students from different curriculum areas coming and asking about understanding assignment brief. And actually, over my career in the library, I have seen some students who would be sitting in the library looking at a computer screen
Yeah.
or their device, and you can see they're getting a bit frustrated or
Yeah.
something's going on
Yeah,
there, and you
yeah.
come up and ask, you know, what is going on? Is there anything we can support you with? And they say, oh, I'm starting to write this assignment and I'm getting nowhere.
Yeah.
And then we ask, actually, have you done anything else prior to starting to write?
Yeah.
And they said, and they say, no, I haven't. Is there anything else I ought to do
Yeah.
other than seeing my assignment brief and starting to write? But actually, research shows that it's only 43% that you dedicate to writing. There's 36% is research, is reading, engaging with that literature, critically thinking, note-taking. Then there is obviously planning before that, which is about 9 to 10%. And at the end is 12% of actually looking and proofreading and checking if you want to change anything. So, yeah. And are there any questions, Louise, that you wish students would ask, but actually they don't come and ask about it?
I think some of the things that you've mentioned, actually, because you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know the importance of that breakdown, I've never actually heard those percentages, but there's over half is all the other stages,
Exactly.
you know, not just what you write. And I think we get quite obsessed with the output rather than the process. So I think knowing for students that they maybe need to learn about some of those things, you know, how do I structure this and all of that sort of stuff. But asking for help generally, I think whatever it is that students need, just them having the confidence to say, I don't know, you know, and then when someone might have helped them with something, if they still don't know, asking again. Because I know sometimes things are explained to me, but I forget, or I don't understand that person, but I would understand that person. So I think for me, just asking for help generally, wherever you are. And also the other thing, it does affect academia, but is outside of it slightly, is, you know, asking for help when you feel overwhelmed. You know, that student that you described sat at the computer, you know, struggling. It needs somebody to spot that. And I think we're very good at that where we are, and I'm sure you are too. But actually students saying, do you know what, this is really hard. And I don't know what I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need some help there. And then the other thing that I think is once you've got the help, be that whatever you've got, you know, whether you've asked you how to find a book or asked me how to do an introduction or whatever, or you've got your assignment and you've got your feedback, then taking it and doing what we call feed forward, you know, like saying, that is, I got that grade, these are my targets, this is what Louise is saying about it as my module lead. What am I going to do about that? Because I think sometimes what we have a tendency to do, particularly if we do okay, is we look at the grade and we're like, oh, I passed, I got over 40 or whatever it means in your course. And then students forget that there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we can actually really feed forward.
Yeah, and it's all that, you know, support system in the college. You know, there's your course leaders, your tutors, your library staff, additional learning support, and it's tapping into those services early enough.
Definitely.
You know, sometimes we have a student who might come and say, actually, I got lower grades than I was expecting, and they come to us, you know, we work with them, they come to the library, borrow books, they're open about sometimes even the grades they get. And they ask those questions, why did I get lower grade? You know, I was referencing correctly, everything was spot on, formatting. And actually, if you delve deeper and speak to them, you find out that actually they haven't applied critical thinking, which is so important at university level. And sometimes they think, oh, if I done good referencing, that would give me really high grades. So we then work with students around building those academic thinking, critical thinking skills. Signposts to books and ebooks that cover those aspects. We run sessions, so we run Head Start sessions specifically for HE students, which stand for HE Academic Development. And students can go as a group through a whole list of sessions. So this could be starting with research skills, building their referencing skills, also about academic writing, critical thinking, avoiding plagiarism. So it's about tapping into that, tapping into one-to-one support that we offer as well. And it's not only in person coming to the library, but actually they can tap into that online through Teams, for example, so our college online systems. And in fact, some of our students, for example, as degree apprentices, they may not be every day in the college, but they would be also studying from home. So if they need support, knowing that actually I can connect with my librarian or my tutor or any support staff online from the comfort maybe of their home, that is really, another additional support line for them as well. And Louise, have you had any success stories where they came to you for support and actually were, achieved really good grades and became graduates and went into employability? Those success stories, anything that you can remember?
I think we've got hundreds, and it's more popular to succeed than it is to decide that you don't want to continue with the journey. Most of our students are exactly what you're talking about. They come along, they attend lessons, they have really good quality teaching. They also, in my course, do work placements or work alongside, which means they develop their actual professional development, and they do the academic stuff that you're talking about. We've had students come to us, and some of the more basic stuff about, the things that I wish they would ask about is how to structure a sentence, how to structure a paragraph. What is the hamburger paragraph? How do I do this critical thinking through sandwiching information and building on my original point? All of that stuff. And I've got students that have learned how to write introductions and conclusions so that their essays flow. I've had students that have learned completely how to use indexes of books so that they can do smart searching. All of those things are being able to come to you. So we usually do some sort of formative in each module. So this would be a practice, or a module lead would sit down with you and say, well, your assignment is about 40. Do you know what I mean? And these are the things you can do. And then we've had students that have gone from like that level all the way to getting above 70 with the help that they've given and the improvement of coming down to you, doing the proofreading, learning about academic sources, learning about introductions, conclusions, what those things are, being able to pass because I meet the learning outcomes. So I would say there are so many stories of that.
Likewise through the library as well. In fact, only recently I received an email from one of our former students who finished degree apprenticeship. And they actually, when they started as an international student, for whom English wasn't their first language, and they went through a different educational background abroad. So when they started at the college several years ago, they really found it daunting. It was really hard for them because they were given assignments to write. It could be 2,000-3,000 word assignment, and you're starting on that journey, really daunting. But the student tapped into our services early on. They explained what was more difficult for them, what they were struggling with, academic language, paragraph structure, sentence structure. How do I actually reference in Harvard style at the college? What is all this system about? How do I build reference lists? So the students sought support, regular support, and actually at the end of it, not only they achieved their degree that they wanted, but recently they emailed me to say they got published in an academic journal within their sector. So that is, amazing success story, to share. And it's lovely to hear that feedback from our alumni.
Definitely.
And those who actually feel that the benefits they got from the library had also influence on them.
Similar as well. So we've had students that have been published as part of, so they've used parts of their assignments that they've submitted to us to get published. We've got ways in which we can support them to do that. One of the other, I suppose, success stories is going back to what we were saying about UCS Elevate. It is more than just writing essays. Writing essays is great because a lot of our students will go on to postgraduate study, and at masters or PGCE or level 7, they'll want you to be able to do writing like in a good form. But the other thing, because we are preparing them for real life, we actually want them to be very good presenters of information. So, and for some of my students, they're almost on their route to train to be a teacher. So we're talking about, how do you present information to a wide range of audiences confidently? And how do you portray that message and convey that message in a way in which is received? So it's no good standing at the front of a lesson and going blah, 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 this is my PowerPoint, because people will stop listening after about 7 seconds, I think they say, don't they?
Yes.
So how do you engage the audience? And some of our marking criteria actually says you have to attempt to engage the audience. So students, some of the success stories around writing, but actually being really confident at commanding that educational space at the front of the classroom and asking questions, setting like little tasks for people to do and doing reflections and guiding people through activities and all of that stuff as well. It's quite phenomenal. And graduation is always, isn't it? You know, one of those days. At the end of October. And it's one of those days where I'm usually either laughing hysterically because of the excitement or crying in my own lap because it's so overwhelming. Because you remember these students, you know, particularly for us, sometimes we meet them when they're on before they get to HE. So I'll go out into other colleges and meet students there or our own colleges, and you will meet them across the levels. Yes. So by the time they get to the end of their degree, if that's where they are, we might have known them 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And we met them at 16, didn't we? And then they're 21, 22, or whatever stage, you know, it's not about age, but that progression.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to attend graduation. Some students came and asked, are you going to attend because you were part of my success, academic success? Definitely. So we're looking forward as well to the graduation. You know, it's absolutely amazing to see those success stories and appreciation from students, and then reflecting about their, you know, journey, learning journey, and who supported them. And sometimes students, you know, they come from, you know, international background, English not being their first language, or they have been out of education very long time. And it can be so daunting, you know, you get your assignment brief, whatever it might be, you know, with diversifying assessment assessment briefs. It could be presentation, it could be report, it could be essay, it could be something else.
It's really interesting talking about some of these subjects, isn't it, and the struggles that students have and stuff. So what specific support systems do the library have that you might not have already mentioned? You mentioned Head Start, for example.
Yeah, so we have groups, Head Start sessions, but also one-to-one support. Perhaps some students don't realise that that's what we do. It's not just the group session that course leaders book in the student groups with us, but also one-to-one, and it's online as well. As I said earlier, if students, you know, not coming in every day to college, and studying from home as well, or they're working as well, so they can then tap in through online systems, so Teams calls. They can also email us, so there could be ad hoc queries, of which we do get a lot, but maybe not all students know that actually if there is a short query, ad hoc query about something, it might be about how to reference a specific resource, which might be more unique. Maybe they haven't heard how to exactly to reference that source. We can then advise them. And we try to make it as a learning kind of angle rather than somebody emails us and says, how do I reference this? So it's working out together what type of source it might be, what do they think referencing would look like, and advising them on those lines. So one-to-one, group sessions, online, or also Teams message, so they can easily message us as well via Teams, and of course come to the library.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think often students might see asking for help as like failing?
No, I think asking for help actually shows their strengths. It shows that their academic resilience. It develops their academic skills as well if they are engaging with library services. Is developing that confidence that will help them, and actually the set of skills that they will take with them goes into employability, because they will become better researchers. They will not just trust information from wherever it comes. They will be checking where that information comes from. Is it evidence-based? Who's written it? How do they know this? So they'll be able to evaluate that information. They will be able to accredit, not take it as theirs. If it's somebody else's information, they able then to accredit it correctly. So accrediting that information, writing reports, doing presentations. These are all the skills they'll take into employability. And that is something that we in the library supported them in that journey.
Yeah, definitely. So important, isn't it? You know, like that trust that they build up with us to be able to ask for help. And we often talk about embracing the wrongness. Do you know what I mean? There's no wrong question. There's no
No.
silly question. There's no none. If you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it, and trying to develop that relationship between staff and students is really important. And then, like we said before, you know, if things do go wrong or it's not quite, or the score you've got is X, Y, and Z, actually there is that opportunity to feed things forward. You know, to take that feedback that you've been given or ask those questions to solve that problem. And I love what you say about, you know, helping people to solve their own problems, working with people, coaching them rather than just giving them the answers all the time,
yes.
or pointing them in the right direction. And it is really interesting, isn't it? Because my students, they're not degree apprenticeships, but they do come in 1 day a week. So there isn't a lot of time for academic support and skills. And the things that you're talking about, you know, online resources and help videos and, you know, with that asynchronous stuff that I can get access to is ever more important, because we don't always have the time, sadly, to sit down and do the full sessions. Although we did come to you this week for induction sessions, didn't we? But yeah. Fab, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, so what would be your last advice to students at this time as we're starting academic year?
Be brave and be bold. Ask for loads of help. Yeah, I think it would just be brave and be bold and be persistent.
Yeah.
I love what you said about academic resilience. You know, I did a project around that a few years ago, and how important it is to be resilient in your study, and when things go wrong, to look at them and to think, what could I do differently? Who can I ask for help to do all of that action plan? Because all students have applied for courses, or they're with us for a reason. They had a career goal, or they had an aim that they wanted to achieve. And what we don't see a lot of it, but sometimes students will opt out because it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. But I do believe everyone can do it. It's just about that persistence and resilience.
Absolutely. And for us in the library, you know, we say to the students, don't wait till you get stuck. If you know you're struggling with something, just come to us.
Yeah.
You know, don't wait if you get feedback and is saying, oh, you should have gone to the library.
Yeah,
you know, you
yeah.
realize that in advance, early on, come for support to us, whichever in the library or by email asking us, or via Teams having a video call. You know, that support system is there all around them. And actually, libraries then can be a shortcut to better research skills, better referencing, better writing, and then overall academic success. So here we are.
Yeah. It's really interesting because when I asked my alumni what they would tell the new students, and one of the biggest things they say is don't leave it until the last minute.
Exactly.
Because if you're busy working and, you know, lives are so
Yeah.
crazy, aren't they? Quite often, you know, it's be like, oh, it's ages, that assignment or that exam or whatever is ages away. And you kind of like just push it to one side, but that planning as well, I think.
And there are now like apps where you can put your deadline, and when the assignment brief was released,
Okay.
and actually then tapping in, and it gives you a schedule what you should achieve every week. That helps some students, and actually it's really good with time management, because a lot of our HE students are not only studying, they're working, they have families, a lot of commitments. So, and that schedule can really help them tap into what I'm going to do this week, next week, up until my deadline. So going through that cycle, and then knowing that I've done the best I can, and I'm able now to submit and wait for my feedback and my grade.
Yeah, definitely. On the flip side of leaving everything to the last minute is the perfectionism, or being too hard on themselves, you know, expecting, maybe not asking for help because they expect that they should know. I think that's the opposite side of it, isn't it? That I sometimes wish students would be a lot kinder to themselves, and a lot more compassionate and patient, because you know, some students go to uni and they just do a degree. That's not just, it is a full-time thing, isn't it? But like you just described, families, work, life, hobbies, trying to stay sane, all of that stuff. You know, there's lots going on. So sometimes I wish is not about setting yourself more goals, it's about actually just being more patient and compassionate. And part of that is asking for help.
And rewarding yourself as well. So if you submitted assignment, worked hard on it, might have been months, weeks, reward something that is good for you, for your mental health, for your well-being, and you know, celebrate that achievement. And of course, when you get your results as well.
Yeah, definitely, fabulous. So, how do people get in touch with you, Yolanta?
Yes, so they can get in touch with us via email. It can be via Teams. It can be via our library SharePoint site, and of course, coming to the library. So different channels of communication. We're always there, and we will respond to all inquiries. So it's just contacting us, whichever way is best for the students.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing, amazing. We also have our own website as well, so you can do that. Quite often there are adverts chat to a lecturer, aren't they? So you can get through there. We've got an inquiries
I did
email.
see after your email signature.
Yeah.
Contact me.
Yeah, book time with me.
Yeah.
So you can either email or get in contact with us that way. But we also have open days as well, don't we? So we love those open days, meeting real life new humans.
Yes.
That's exciting.
And
as
actually,
well.
library is also open during open days and evenings.
Yes, it
and
is, yeah.
yes, our students and those visiting can come in and explore our resources.
Yeah.
So,
Quite often we do outreach as well, don't we? So we go to UCAS fairs and we go and visit schools and colleges and all of that. Otherwise, you can just pick up the phone.
Yeah,
you can just call
very
us.
easy.
Thank
Thank you
Amanda.
very much.
It's been
It's
amazing
lovely to
chatting
be on
today.
this
Yeah.
podcast. Thanks a lot.
No worries, thank you.